Greetings, Dr. Brandon Frame, founder of TheBlackManCan, and so excited to be coming to you live from Atlanta, Georgia on Juneteenth, and as well as this Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. And we're here at the Riverside Epicenter for a powerful conversation with professional athletes talking about how they're prioritizing their mental health and how it's helped them be successful in fatherhood, being Black men, and navigating life. Stay tuned and tap in.
I'm in a totally different age bracket than these guys. I'm in my 50s. So my generation was that generation of, suck it up, nothing's wrong with you. You know what I mean? You didn't talk about it. Oh man, you soft, or, it was an embarrassment. And these guys are my therapy now. Seeing these young men do what they do, because my generation we didn't have the guts to do it.
I am just grateful to be here, and everything happens for a reason. So the intimate setting that we had, and for all these young Black men to be on this stage today and to be as vulnerable as they were, everybody's gonna leave here with a testimony today. So with that, I wanna say I just love, this made my Juneteenth today. I'm loving it.
Good morning. How's everybody doing? Or good afternoon, I should say. So excited, Dr. Brandon Frame, founder of TheBlackManCan. So honored that we're able to be here. This is in the Lunch and Learn series. We're doing the Men's Den, so you see the production team here. So we're also filming this conversation on men's mental health. I want to give a big shout out to Atlanta Black Star because it's Black Star Week, and so they're also supporting this. And so really excited for our conversation about men's mental health. It's something that is so important, and we have some all-star panelists. And so actually, I'm not gonna actually introduce each one of you how we do this on the Men's Den. A lot of times when we get together as men, it's a little humble. Yo, it's good to see you, bro. I saw people coming in, good to see you. I ain't seen you in a while. But how I like people to introduce themselves is for you to tell us why you him. And that's how you introduce yourself. So you say why you're him, and then share a little bit about yourself and who you are and what you do. So Jonathan, you can start us off and tell us why you him.
Appreciate that. How y'all doing this afternoon? Well, my name is Jonathan Casillas. I am him because I am an awesome dad, number one. I think I'm a pretty good son, too. I played in the NFL for 9 years. I retired 7 years ago. That's crazy to say that out loud. I won a couple Super Bowls, played for 4 teams, retired as a Giant. I'm still active with the Giants, do a lot of work in the community for them. I am the pregame and postgame radio show host for all the games. What else? I'm doing cannabis. I'm a connoisseur, and I'm also an investor, and I'm an owner as well in New Jersey. And man, I'm trying to just do awesome things with awesome people, man, and do good business with good people.
Absolutely love that.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I'm Dominique Easley. Why I'm him? That's a real easy answer. Like you said, because I'm a great father. Most important in my life is my kids. Trying to be a great husband, trying to be a great person in life and change people's lives. From New York, if y'all can hear it in my voice. I see a couple. Born and raised in Staten Island, New York. Went to the University of Florida, got drafted to the Patriots, won a Super Bowl, had the opportunity to win in the Super Bowl. And then I see a Gator out there. And then I had a unfortunate to lose to them as well. Now I own my own real estate. I own my own construction company. I have a real estate license. I do fix and flips. Live right here in Georgia. I live in Woodstock, and I'm just trying to go about life and change people's lives.
Absolutely outstanding.
1, 2, 1, 2. So my name is Anton Barnes, and why I'm him? The reason why I'm him is because I'm a good man. I don't have any children of blood, but I basically have adopted all of these guys up here. Just to let you know, I represent all the players on this panel. I'm from New Jersey. I was an athlete 30 years ago. I'm in my 50s. Was a top athlete recruited out of high school. But I lost a man of my life. I lost my father literally a month after graduating high school, someone who was impactful in my life. And upon his death, I took it my responsibility to continue his legacy on being a good man. And went through that experience from transitioning from being an athlete to going to a HBCU, being more than an athlete. Proud Morganite, went to Morgan State University. Upon graduating, I went into the music industry. I had an 18-year career in the music industry. I worked with Jay-Z, Akon, Nelly. I built all of these artists' careers, and then I transitioned in 2008 into sports management, and I started the Brand Architects, which is my firm now, where we don't amplify the athletic side of our clients. We amplify the men and what they want to do 30, 40 years when the NFL is done with them or when they're done with the NFL. So I'm here to talk on that aspect in regards to how black men are identified in our community, amongst ourselves, and in society.
All right, my name is Christopher Hubbard. I'm him because one, I'm God's child. I'm a father. I'm a great friend. Um, I'm my mom's son. You know what I mean? Like, I'm all these things, but without him, I'm nothing. You know what I mean? So, um, I live here in Georgia, in Alpharetta, Georgia. Born in Columbus, Georgia. I'm trying to help, these young kids out, young organizations out. I have a foundation of my own, Overcoming Together Foundation. My guy here, Anton, he helped me out with that. Um, we have been building so many things up and so many things in the community with mental health. Just trying to gravitate people and let people know how understanding and what it means to know what mental health is, because it's really a big deal, man, in our community. As black human beings, man, we need it. You know what I mean? And I'm just trying to change the world. And I'm currently playing with the 49ers right now. This will be my 12th year coming up. Went undrafted out of UAB in Birmingham. Kind of like unheard of, man. Playing this game for so long. It's really a blessing. It really is a blessing. So I'm just here, man, because God got me here, and I'm thankful, man. So that's it.
Why am I him? My name is Eric. I'm a licensed professional counselor here in Georgia. I'm a retired football player, and I retired in elementary school when I realized that was not my calling to be a football player, right? But I'm also him because I feel like at that moment I'm also a man who realized it was okay to be me, that didn't have to fit the mold. That's another reason I'm me. And the other one is I'm me because I like helping men find their voice, find their way to express, find their way to be who they are in this world when everything you are told defines who you are. And that's why I'm here today to express. I run a practice called Just for Men Behavioral Health here in Atlanta, Georgia, and I also serve as the Chief Operating Officer for the Licensed Professional Counselors Association here in Georgia.
Peace and love, beautiful beings. I go by Soul Cole, and I'm him because of him. Just what Chris said. And I played football at Rutgers University. I was a receiver, went undrafted to the New Orleans Saints. Had a short career, 4 years, but I got vested, so I'm grateful. You know what I'm saying? Everybody don't get that. Everybody don't get that. So from there, I retired due to injury. And I'm him because I bounced back from that injury. Y'all can't tell that I had neck surgery and hip surgery, and the way that I move, the way that I talk, the way that I'm just flowing through life right now. I'm him because I fell down and I got back up, but it was only through the grace of God, and I'll continue to share more of that story. And now I'm serving as a change agent or a champion for change, to be that representation that I didn't see men of color, particularly athletes, in the health and wellness space, whether it was a counselor, a therapist, or a yoga practitioner, or a meditation guide, or someone who can help me holistically change the way that I think,
right? And change the way that I talk to myself with positive affirmations. I didn't see that growing up. And so that was important for me. And so I'm him because I'm using my platform, I'm using my voice, right? Doc said he helps people find their voice. I've found my voice through this journey. And so I'm grateful to be here with this lovely panel.
And so, again, let's give it up for our panel. See, just amazing brothers. Looking forward to getting into this conversation and starting with mental health. And I think about, it was last month, I got to speak to some high school students, right? And it was a HBCU panel. And it was just, I had a chance to talk about, I went to Morehouse and talk about it. And one of the questions that the students asked me was like, oh, what's the mental health support systems like at Morehouse? And I didn't have the answer because I graduated so long ago, but I thought about when in 2005 when I went to college, that wasn't even a question that I asked myself, like, and maybe the same for you when you were going, that's not even something you thought about, right? So mental health and talking about it, self-care is a part of our lexicon now. So Soul Cole, if we could start with you and talk about, and we'll go around for each person, what is your mental health journey and what has that been like? When did it for you be like, okay, this is something that's important, and what has that journey been like for you?
The journey for me, if I'm honest, it started back as a freshman in college when I chose to go to Rutgers University. I really thought I was, a big-time recruit, and I get there and I get redshirted. I got humbled. Like, I was not expecting that at all. I'm thinking I'm about to, be a true freshman. That's all I wanted to do is just get on the field. And I could have went anywhere, and I chose to go to a school, and I ended up getting redshirted. And I got really just, that was my first, adversity that I got hit with as an athlete. And, how do I deal with this? Did I make the right decision? Depression, anxiety, all that starting to creep in, but I didn't have those words to articulate it at that time. I'm just feeling these emotions, but I'm keeping them bottled in because we weren't taught to vocally express that. So that's when I first started going through it, but I didn't, even at that time, I wasn't able to name it. And then later in my career, I started playing, but I'm going through a season where, as a receiver, I couldn't even catch a cold, right? How you make that happen? Right? And so they recommended me to talk to a sports psychiatrist. But the problem was, it was an old white dude in a suit, and he looked like he ain't never played a sport in his life. And I was just like, nah, I'm good. This was 2012, right? So the whole conversation was very still taboo, and it was still uncomfortable at the time. So I wasn't bought into it at the time. So, going through my journey, things like that, and then I can go back to them like, oh, that was something you were struggling with, right? But I didn't have a support system. Like I said, I didn't have someone who looked like me that was able to hold space for me, and I didn't even know what that meant at the time. And so just being able to evolve, even through my career, being undrafted, I cried, not getting drafted. I was embarrassed. I was devastated. You know what I'm saying? I felt embarrassed. I felt like I let everybody down. Like everybody was counting on me to see my name go across the screen, and it didn't happen. And that was tough, right? To publicly deal with that. And I'm cool now. I can share that vocally and not have a problem with it and not feel ashamed about that. And so, things like that come up for me, but I really want to hear, what the rest of you guys have to say about it.
For me, my experience with mental health, it started young. I had some challenges, bullying and experiencing things like that as a kid. But I think my most significant experience as a mental health practitioner, they tell you to go and get therapy and experience it for the first time. And I walk into the office and I'm ready to get therapy. And I'm sitting in the office and I look around. I'm like, man, there's a lot of flowers in here. A lot of pastels, right? And then I go and I sit in the desk with the lady, and she's ready to provide therapy to me, and I'm looking around, I'm like, man, this space is just not for me. And at that moment, I realized, similar to you, where you saw, the guy who didn't fit the mold, I realized at that moment, I instantly shut down, and I already said she couldn't help me, right? And that was my real most significant experience, and it really drives what I do now, creating a space where men feel like men in that space for therapy. But that was probably the most significant one I had And I realized at that moment, there are so many clinicians out here, but so few trained to really deal with men's issues. Male-centered therapy is a rarity in Atlanta and is a rarity across the globe. And we're just now starting to see events like this even emerge to give men that voice.
So for me, the journey started when I was in college as well, too. Man, my grandfather had passed. I just got to college my freshman year. My grandfather passed, like, this might have been my third practice, and I got the call, from my coach. He called me down, and he was like, son, I got some bad news for you. You know what I'm saying? Your grandfather has just passed away. And I was devastated because that was like my best friend, man. You know what I'm saying? And he taught me a lot about life, how to be a man, how to carry yourself, how to talk, pretty much how to walk, man. And because he's been there every step of the way of my life. So when I got that call, I was like, man, what I'm supposed to do now? I don't have Pops to call back no more. You know what I'm saying? I don't have him to lean on. I don't have him to just have that guidance from. And all throughout that freshman year of college, I struggled, man, and had many adversities to come up in my life during that part of my season. I call it a season because that was a season of growth for me. I was failing classes. I was depressed, you know what I mean? I was just having so many doggone thoughts in my mind to where I didn't want to play football no more. But at that time, man, my mom sat down and had a conversation, and we were just talking about, like, what are some things that you can do throughout this process to get you through. That was my therapist at that time. You know what I mean? Man, my mom, she guided me and she prayed for me. She did everything that a mom's supposed to do at that time to get me through that moment. And, it wasn't always good, through that whole process. But, through the grace of God and through those talks with her, I made it through that time because I was drinking at a young age, man, during that time of college. I was drinking, and then I had another injury. I had just had a high ankle sprain, and I couldn't play for weeks and weeks ago. So it just kind of trickled down and trickled down, through that whole process for me. But fast forward to going through the league, I could say so cold, piggyback off so cold, man. Being undrafted, man, you thinking like, man, you're going to get that call, and it's just like everything's supposed to change when that call happens. And it didn't, you know what I mean? I was called right after the draft, man, and thankful, but it's like, man, I had like high hopes and dreams of being able to get drafted, and I soaked, man, during that time, because I was just thinking about, like, man, I can change my family. I didn't come from a lot, you know what I mean? So I'm like, people looking at me to bring them out and pull them up, and that was a whole bunch of weight on my shoulders. But I'll tell you guys more as we get deeper in these conversations, though. So yeah.
Hello. Yeah. So mine started, I think, coming out of high school. So I'm in a totally different age bracket than these guys. I'm in my 50s. So my generation was that generation of, suck it up, nothing's wrong with you. You know what I mean? And talk about it. Oh, man, you soft, or, it was an embarrassment. And coming out of high school, I was a top recruit. I had a full ride to go play at Clemson University. Literally, my father was, when I tell you my icon, he was a black business owner. When I say a black business owner, he owned a Porsche dealership. We owned multiple stores. He did it. And he came from the projects in New Jersey. So I saw what a black man can do and not just be an athlete. Like, my father, he was cool with me playing football, but he was like, man, listen, that football stuff only gonna take you but so far. There's gonna be a time where you can't play no more. Or if you get hurt, what you gonna do? And this in the 90s, you got a knee injury back then, it was over. So, I always had that mindset of being more than just an athlete. So I go to Clemson, and literally I asked to be redshirted because my mind wasn't there because I lost my father. And when I saw that shift, how they changed on me, I left. I said, you know what? Y'all don't want to let me to heal mentally. I'm not going to go out there and hurt myself. And I transferred to Morgan State University, which was the best decision I made in my life. Because there, they didn't want me as an athlete. They wanted me as a young man. They didn't ask me to play football for them one time. They were like, Anton, we're going to help you grow as a man. So that was a great decision for me because I didn't have therapy. We didn't have that back then. That was my therapy. But then I had a second calling when I got into the music industry. I want to say maybe 2006, 2007. I literally was almost at the top. I was at the top of my career, but I was miserable because I was seeing what the music industry was doing to my people. I'll be honest with you. And this was back then. The music we were putting out, I just felt was degrading. I saw, and I'll go into detail later, I saw the machine controlling the narrative of black men and how they perceive us and the music we put out. And I couldn't no longer be a part of that. And I had 2 friends commit suicide. And these brothers were making millions of dollars. So I had to make a moral shift in my life. And that's when I started the Brand Architects. And these guys are my therapy now. Seeing these young men do what they do, because my generation we didn't have the guts to do it. So they're part of my therapy. And being part of this, sharing my story, is part of my mental therapy because it's relatable. And a lot of black men, we don't have a lot of things in society that we can relate to, except ourselves. And that's why we're doing this.
My mental health journey. Like I said, I'm from New York, so it started as a child, but I didn't recognize it until I was an adult. About 5 years ago, I had went to go get therapy at a place in Colorado, and I finally figured out the root of my reactions was childhood trauma. Once I understood that, it made me more aware of who I was. It made me more aware of my reactions. And it made me want to be more vulnerable to everybody, honestly. And from there, it allowed me to, now have conversations with my son that allows him to open up more to me, have conversations with my parents that allows them to open up more towards me, open up more towards each other as well. Even with my wife, and even with, my fellow brothers. It allows a different conversation and allows more knowledge to come in our mind and for us to be able to pass this down. And I'll say that is my mental health journey, is to be able to change the conversations that we have as kids. Like you said, right? For them to sit there and ask about mental health now is crazy. I'll give you one situation. When I was in California, and it was crazy. It was probably the coolest things it was probably the coolest experience that I've experienced. My bonus mom, she's back there. She teaches basically like a mental health program, and in the class, it was the subject was respect, and they was asking about basically like how to handle these situations, and they was talking about being triggered. So basically, it was a conversation that I never even thought to have when I was in the 4th grade, right? And they asking all these questions that allowed them to have this emotional intelligence to take back home to now they can talk to their parents. Because like you said, right, back in the older days, honestly, we're dealing with their trauma. Their trauma got put on us, and it's a cycle. So for us to, exactly. So now we're able to have these conversations and break this trauma. And now it's even better now because, right, there's hope. The way the world is, you got social media. Ain't no hope in that. And I'm going to be honest, like the world is screwed right now because of social media. But the simple fact that 4th graders is having conversations about mental health, that brings hope for me.
My mental health journey is to be continued because it's still like happening. It's an everyday process. It's an everyday struggle. But that's the thing. I like struggle, man. I like to fight. I was undrafted also, and I was supposed to get drafted in the 2nd round. And boy, when you don't get that first phone call until the 5th round, woo, But I only questioned myself about 30 seconds. I went upstairs and cried. My mom came upstairs and told me what I needed to hear. Went back downstairs. She said, you only need an opportunity, and you're going to get an opportunity. I didn't know it was going to come after the draft, but I got one. You know, won a Super Bowl my first year. You know, got hurt. You know, missed the season. That was hard. Missing the season right when I won a starting job as a rookie, undrafted. Missed the whole year. My career was like this. I done bounced back from being undrafted. No, back in the hole, but still, not yet. Got back after it, did my years, won another Super Bowl with this dude right here, with the great Tom Brady, you know? So now I'm back at it again, like I'm feeling good again. Retired as a captain of the New York Giants. Like, you know, my career was good. A lot of ups and downs. Had to retire because of injuries. Neck was all messed up. Watched my young homeboy paralyze himself on national television, Ryan Shazier. The day I hurt my neck, I couldn't even do this on the plane. Literally, I was doing this. And then I seen Ryan Shazier. I went into Ronnie Barnes the next day to train him for the Giants. I said, bro, I'm done, bro. He said, JC, don't be emotional. I said, nah, I'm good. Like, I'm straight. IR, and then I ended up, you know, retiring. I didn't get depressed until 3 years ago. And I've been retired 7 years now. And I didn't know until probably about a few months ago. Me and you been talking, Antone, and I didn't really know what it was, but the event that happened 3 years ago, I was visiting my mother in Florida. I'm from New Jersey. I live in New Jersey. I got back home, routine, opened my door. It was a little weird. The power was off. I couldn't get in the garage, put the power back on. I'm confused, but I'm like kind of dumbfounded, like not really know what's going on. Like, did I leave? Like, what's happening? Open the garage, stuff's open. I'm like, did I leave this place a mess? I go upstairs, my kitchen, and I'm like, oh, somebody been up in my crib. Man, they done robbed my house. And I got $1 million house. I live in Edgewater, New Jersey. I live on the water. I got a beautiful crib. I got an elevator in that thing and everything, you know? I never felt, hey, pull up on me. I never felt violated like that in my life. Mind you, I've been blammed in football. I done thought I pooped myself on the field. Like, I done been through the ups and downs, you know? But I never felt that violated. And then I went to the spot where I kept my 2 Super Bowl rings. They was gone. They was gone. They took my rings. I had my jewelry with me. They took my, you know, some of my shoes and stuff and belts, but the thing is, them rings, they cost money, but they're priceless. You know what? It validated who I was. And I didn't know that for a while. I was messed up for a minute, and then that's when I went in the house. That's when I kind of shut everybody off. I ran downstairs literally that next week twice in my boxers with a knife because I thought I heard somebody downstairs wishing somebody was in my crib. And this is the thing about us up here, right? And I'm talking about men in general. Most men embrace the fight. You know, most men embrace it, the struggle. Most men will look at it and be like, it's a challenge, so I'm going to go ahead and do it. I know it's going to be hard, but shoot, I done a lot of things. The thing is with that, there wasn't no fight. I couldn't fight to get them back. They were gone. And that was a piece of me gone, and that like messed me up. And then I got hurt in 2022. I tore my Achilles, and that's the first time I ever got lazy because I was sitting with my leg up, smoking weed and playing Call of Duty and Grand Theft Auto. And the combination of that trauma that happened from the robbery incident to that being comfortable, not talking to nobody bothering me, I'm a social butterfly. I need to be around people. I need people to bother me. I need to bother people. I need to be checking in with my people. And that's what I did. I started checking in with my guys. 2 people I talked to within the span of 10 minutes brought me to tears on both of those conversations because we don't speak to people. Y'all got therapists, but how many other people you get to speak to that'll listen and, more importantly, give you back something of value? Because a lot of people feel like they can't speak to us because we done played in the league, we done what we did, you know, and I got 2 people that I truly care about that I was neglecting talking to because I was afraid of being honest and letting everybody know what happened, because I didn't tell nobody that people broke into my crib and stole my rings. But I finally did it, and I cried, and I was like, dang, that felt good to do that. You know? Then the injury happened. Then me and Antone been talking. It's like, bro, you be in the crib not doing nothing. You got to get out the house. Get some sun on your face. You know, wipe it on your face. You know, he do be on me too. But it's an ongoing struggle for me. You know, I'm still dealing with it. But like I told Antone, I'm doing my thing. Like, I'm not missing flights no more. I'm growing my weed in my house. I'm not smoking early in the morning. Like, little things that I thought was like kind of helping me, they was hurting me. You know, not trying to put my problems on other people, because I'm a giver. I'm not a taker. You know, I like to give. And I felt like I was taking from people. But no, I wasn't. Because me being honest with them people helped them too. Because they saw me as this big old strong football player that got everything figured out, which I do for, 85% of the time. You know, that 15%, right. That 15% though, for me, it comes from other people. From the people you care about, you trust and you love, and we all got them people in our lives. But let's start calling them up. You know, ring them up, because trust me, they waiting for you to call them. Do it. I did it. I feel like I'm doing good, and every day is a process. Every day is a journey, so I'm in the midst of my mental health. I wouldn't even call it it's a battle. It's not a struggle, because I'm not struggling with it. I'm just a battle, and I like to fight. So I'm going to keep up the fight, you know what I'm saying? Just hope everybody do, because the only way you lose is when you don't get up. And I was kind of sitting and not getting up for a while, but I'm up now. I'm up now.
As you can see, we have this dynamic panel, and I love the vulnerability that everybody has. And there's strength and vulnerability. There's power and black men coming together to talk about our challenges, because then we realize we're not on an island by ourselves, that we don't have to suffer in silence. So I would love to hear from each person talking about, why it's important for Black Men's Mental Health Month to actually talk about our challenges and be vulnerable and allow vulnerability to be our strength.
Man, I would say for me, man, like we have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. You know what I mean? And the thing is, like, we have these conversations. I was nervous about having these conversations before. Like John said, man, going in the locker room, like, you a big guy, like, they look at you as a big guy, like, man, you don't want no wimp, you know what I mean, or something like that. But at the end of the day, it's about being vulnerable in those spaces. I've learned that now, through this whole process, because I've been through a lot, dealt with a lot. But in that locker room, I'm open with these guys, man. How you doing? Like, I literally look at them, hey, bro, how you doing today? Like, how's your night been? Like, what you did yesterday? Did you do anything that helped you out your mental space? You know what I mean? Have you done something there? I think about having those conversations, man. Like, and because I started off, I'll be like, man, hey, I'm not feeling it today. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I might not be feeling it today, but that person might be like, man, you got it. You know what I'm saying? You got it. You can keep going. You can keep pushing. Just bouncing off each other, man. I think that's the only way to be able to keep growing this whole conversation, this piece about black man as a black man and the mental health world, man. I think that's the only way that we can continue to strive, man.
And since I got the mic, still, now you said vulnerability, but it's honesty. Sometimes we don't really do that because we just think that we're good. Like, men say, hey, how you doing, man? I'm good, knowing that you ain't good, right?
Ain't been good for a minute.
You're not right, so I told you I had those conversations. When I was saying it out loud, that's when I was realizing what was really going on. For me, actually saying it for the first time, being honest and putting it out there. And you don't know, by you being honest with yourself, how you could help other people. And it could be the person that's helping you, and then they just gain perspective on what they got going on. And it's just so powerful being, like you said, vulnerable, but it's really that honest conversation with yourself and having somebody that you feel comfortable with to do that. And it's groundbreaking when you can do it. It's reciprocal.
Piggyback off what my brothers were saying, I look at vulnerability as, well, we've been conditioned to look at vulnerability as a liability in our community, right? Will we all agree with that? I've been working on reprogramming that to see vulnerability as an asset, right? And being intentional with using my vulnerability from sharing my story, right? We all up here, and everybody out there too, has a testimony. But you can't have a testimony without being tested, right? That's right. And so we have to continue to share our story, because what JC said, you never know who's out here listening that could impact them in a way that they did not know that they needed. That's why when I got the call to be on this panel, I'm in it. Because I don't know who's showing up here today. And everybody in this room has something going on that I don't know about. Y'all dealing with something, because I'm dealing with something that you don't know about. But if I'm vulnerable and honest and have the courage enough to share it with authenticity, it's going to resonate with just one person. I'm never going to impact, my goal is never to impact everybody, because that's like, yo, you might not get it. But if I know that I have a story that's going to impact at least one person in here every time, I'm going to get you. So yeah, I just want to continue to share that vulnerability is an asset, not a liability.
And I want to jump on that, because it's about identification. It's about how we're identified as, what we're identified as. Like, we're men, but then we're black men. We're not supposed to be identified as being vulnerable. We're not supposed to be identified as this or that. Whereas, we're all black men, but we're all individuals. So we need to be identified as who we are as individuals. Like, I'll tell all these guys, and they'll tell you, I don't talk to them about sports. I don't care. I haven't been to a game in 7 years. I'm proudful on them starting their foundations, being this vulnerable man, amplifying that, showing that that's cool. We have to change the narrative on what cool is, okay? That's what we got to change the narrative. Being vulnerable is cool. Being a tough guy ain't cool no more, because it's a facade, and we're instilling that in our children. We have to instill in them that being vulnerable, talking. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. This is therapy for me right now. Last week, I had a good neighbor of mine get killed on a motorcycle accident, another brother, to the point where I didn't even realize it was impacting me until Sunday. I'm laying in the house, and I'm having heart palpitations, because my wife was like, you know what, you're stressed out. I'm like, nah, because I got to be there for his sons. Really, it was stressing me out. So this is therapeutic for me. Me showing that vulnerability, because that affects you physically. We all know, we got that old saying, stress in this country, especially in this country, but in the world, will kill a black man quicker than anything. And a lot of that is pent up stuff that we just keep inside of us, that we don't let out. So seeing, these guys, Cole being meditation and, breath technique, therapists, conversationists, all these guys, like, we have to change our lifestyles, along with not just our conversations, but the way we carry ourselves. Because we need to start influencing our younger generation different than what my generation did.
I'm really interested to hear a little bit for those who have made that pivot, right, to life after sports, and what was the mental health journey in that aspect of things, to be like, okay, and then those who are at some point that will be the case. Tell me about the pivot that you make, and Dominic, you can start as you navigate that, because we hear about it. Like, I'm similar to Eric, where my career stopped in freshman year. I did the Oklahoma drill, and then I realized that I'm playing basketball because that's a foul. That's a foul. I never forget it. And I was like, oh no, football is not for me. But yeah. So yeah, I'm even share.
Yeah, so for me, my life after football wasn't what you would normally think, I guess, somebody loves football would go through. I never loved football. I started playing football in high school, and it just so happened I was good at it, so I just went along with it. Football really was a traumatic part of my life, and I say that because it brought insecurities it brought insecurities because where I'm from, I've never seen somebody succeed to a different level of the people in our community, and that made everybody in my community look at me like I was different. So I never wanted to be out in the front because it made me seem like I was better than everybody else. It made me look like I knew more than everybody else, but in all reality, it didn't, and that kept me not wanting to love football. And that's what, and that was a big thing for me. So my life after football journey was really a relief for me. It was a great thing because, yes, I went through a lot of traumatic moments in my life after football, but it allowed me to, one, explore my mind as a businessman. It allowed me to explore my mind as my emotional intelligence. It allowed me to explore me and who I am as a being. So after football, for me, I tried many different things. FinTech EduTech, which is a financial literacy app. I have 13 hours in the air flying a plane. Now, for us, the reason why I started that is because growing up in the projects, when the hell are you gonna hear a black man say that I'm flying a plane, right? You don't hear stuff like that. So and that's the problem, is this, that we don't have those conversations because you're used to seeing a white man do it. You see seeing somebody else do it. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to do it just because of that. I have my license. I have a cultivation license up in Jersey for growing cannabis, which is a white dominant or industry. You know, that those are all top men with billions of dollars who's doing it. Nah, I went out and figured it out. You know what I mean? There was nights where I was crying. So it brought out a lot of new things that I learned about myself, and it also brought out a lot of new conversations, and that also allowed me to become more vulnerable in that life after football. So now I'm married. I'm a married man. I never thought I was gonna be married, to be honest with you. Like I did not want to get married. I didn't believe in marriage, and not to say that people in my life wasn't great, but my outlook on marriage was problems. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't see how they solve problems. I only seen the problems, and that was something that I didn't want to stray away from my kids. Yeah, you can't sit here and say you don't want your kids to listen to y'all fight. It's gonna happen, but you also gotta let them listen to how y'all solve these problems, which is real life, and it's real. Like, you have to do that type of stuff. Along with that, like I said, I'm married. I got 5 kids. I have a bonus daughter. One of the greatest experiences that I ever had, because I had to learn real quick how to be a girl dad. You know what I mean? And for every man who's in here who got a girl who's a girl dad, know it's different than being a dad to boys. And now, like I said, I own my own construction company. Well, I own a construction company with a partner who's a white man who I'm teaching how to conversate. And one things that he said to me, which was funny, is he had a Haitian best friend, right? So he grew up around black people, and we was talking, we was conversating, and he was like, "Nah, I'm gonna teach my kids not to see color." I said, "Well, hold on. No. I understand your intention, which is great, but that's not real life. You have to teach them to see color, because that's what we go through on an everyday basis, right? When we walk in the store, they see color. When we walk outside a certain way, they see color. So you have to teach them to have those conversations, to understand who you're talking to and how to relate to the person. So owning that business with him, I'm teaching them more about their culture, about our culture, but vice versa. He's teaching me more about their culture, because we can't be ignorant and we can't be selfish. We also have to understand what they go through as white people in this country. You know what I mean? And because that allows us to have more knowledge behind it. And I'm now fixing and flipping homes. Now I'm able to bring something to the table that's gonna change generations. You know what I mean? Yeah, we walk around here, we talk, and we like good things. When I say we, meaning me, I love good things. I love to be treated well, but I also love to work hard and work smart and show my kids how to do these different things. I have conversations with them about how to budget. I have conversations. I bring them, when I owned the store, I brought them to the store. They worked in the store. They knew how to blow up balloons. I never knew how to blow up balloons. We used to always just go get it, but something simple as that. I had chickens. I had 75 chickens. A black man living in the country in New Jersey, the only black man in that community, have a black-owned business, the only black man to do that. They got to see that, and they got to experience that, and understand how to also work through that. Because, yeah, I had a bunch of white people coming in there making noise, but no, I didn't react. I understood how to react, and I understood what they was looking for. So to say the least, that my life after football was a blessing to me, because when I was in football, I was addicted to opioids. I didn't have conversations with my family. I didn't trust nobody. I honestly, there was a part of my life where I couldn't even walk around. I had 16 surgeries and 3 ACLs. So it was a part of my life where I couldn't even walk around the mall for 30 minutes without carrying this big machine, which is called the Game Ready, to ice my knee in the back of a car. So I didn't enjoy life. I just had almost $2 million put in my bank account, but I was the angriest person on earth. So to say the least, money don't make nothing. Happiness is where you find it and your journey to it. So my life at the football is a blessing.
That's a blessing. So the pivot for me was something I would never have saw myself transition into. And I say that as a wellness practitioner, consultant, mental health, mental performance coach, and an artist, like a spoken word artist. So I didn't see that for myself. I thought I was going to, be working with the NFLPA and, doing liaison, being one of the player guys that come to the locker room and tell you what your benefits are. And I, all right, bro, like, you know what I'm saying? I thought that was gonna be my path. And as I transition out, I quickly, I'm going through my healing journey. I didn't have 16 surgeries, but I had 2 that were impactful. I had surgery on my neck and surgery on my hip back-to-back months. So I'm on crutches and I can't turn my neck. That was the most vulnerable I had ever been. And standing at 6'6", 220 pounds at the time, I couldn't defend myself for the first time. And I did not feel safe. I didn't know how to communicate that. I didn't know how to articulate that. And I'm like, bro, I'm staying in the house because I'm already a target every time I walk out. People look at me as a threat anyways, just because of my sheer size. You don't even know me. But now transitioning into, the health and wellness space, like I said earlier, I didn't see that representation. And for me, that was so important. I heard J. Cole at the time in 2018 speak about how he uses meditation as a way to help him manage his anxiety, even just before doing a show or a podcast. And then I became curious. And then I started looking at, mainstream platforms, whether it was YouTube or Calm app or any of these other platforms that had guided meditations. And there was a whole bunch of white women, telling me, breathe in through your nose and breathe out through your mouth. I'm like, how did he? I know he ain't listening to this. But he never said who he was listening to. And so for me, I was like, all right, I need to be this change. I need to now, pick up a microphone and use my voice, because they all saying the same thing. There's no such thing as plagiarism in that space. Everybody tell you to do the same thing, but you just put your own spinning on it. Once I realized that, they don't put no seasoning on nothing, so I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and sprinkle some soul seasoning on this and do my thing. And you talked about making vulnerability cool. My whole rebrand was to make mindfulness cool. Soul Cold sounds cool. I don't care who you ask. and if it matches my authenticity of how I show up in the room, then it's on brand. And so for me, using my platform the way that I do, reminding people how important their breath is as a way to help you regulate your emotions in stressful situations, whether you are playing on the field or whether you about to go to your 9 to 5. It doesn't matter. You can still use your breath to help you in stressful situations. When you're in traffic, right? We all have been in traffic and getting ready to flip the bird at somebody, you know what I'm saying, just off the strength, right? And so just being able to be that bridge and bridge that gap to this next generation and to my peers and let them know that it's okay, for you to learn how to, do things that may seem uncomfortable. My brother said, we got to practice being uncomfortable. That's where the growth happens, right? And so, that pivot wasn't easy, but I'm glad I was able to transition into it. And that's something I didn't see for myself, but that's something I'm glad that I'm here now because I need it for myself. That's why I did it.
It's interesting when you retire And no matter what the circumstance is, a lot of us, our body said, hey, you might want to let this thing go, right? My body did that. And, just like, anybody else that retired at a young age from their sport or whatever they're doing, you try to look at, what you're passionate about, and then you pursue that and what would you do if, you could do it for free, right? You do that. And I'm sitting there chasing the passion that I have for football when I didn't realize that don't even exist. It don't. I played in front of my home crowd, in front of Jersey, in front of 18 family members, every home game, bro. And I was a captain, and I was making fourth down stops. When am I gonna ever replicate that passion again, that feeling? Never. I was chasing that for a while. And I started noticing that that was like a me thing. That was me. I was doing that. Of course, the team, we got a whole bunch of other guys on the team. But then I started realizing your passion is in the service of others. So I'm sitting there trying to figure out what my passion is for me, not realizing my passion really don't have nothing to do with me. It have to do with other people. My daughter, my mother, my family, my inner circle, the outer circle, the people that you moved on the outside that can't touch you no more, them people. And then also the youth. I'm always constantly, you tell me something you're doing for the youth, I'm gonna drive to Philly, DC, you already know I'll fly, whatever it is. That's my passion, the service of others. I can't replicate that feeling in the Superdome, bro. I can't replicate that. Again, it would never happen. But the passion and the joy, the happiness, the abundance that I feel in servicing others, especially these little kids. We had this girl, I had a camp last week, and I do an all-inclusive football camp. It's a leadership camp, but it's open from 6th grade to 12th graders. We got, any kid could come, and we do a real good job in focusing in on the middle schools of New Brunswick, New Jersey. So much that I didn't post at all because I didn't want to overflood the camp. But we had 220 kids registered, most of them being middle school kids, half of those kids being girls and special needs kids. And I promote, I do life skills in the morning, so we give them life skills sessions, and that's a home run every year. The outside part is tricky because you got high school kids and you got 6th grade kids that can't even run. So it's a tricky part, right? So we go take the picture, everything's going well. We're in the gymnasium that I used to play in, and I got a banner up in there. It's my gym, So I'm walking in there, and I'm feeling great because we just finished the morning sessions, and all my life skills professors just spoke, and I'm feeling good. I just taught 8 different classes for 15 minutes for 2 hours. There's no better feeling than that, Then I go to the front. There's this girl named Nevaeh, dark-skinned girl, pretty heavy set, very heavy set. She's not an athlete, right? I sit right next to her in the front row. And I said, what's up, how you doing? She's crying. And I'm like, who messing with you? Like, tell me who messing with you? Like, what's going on? Something happened to you? She was like, I'm scared. I'm saying, what are you scared of? I'm like nervous because something happened to her, you know what I mean? Like, the kids, they're not really by themselves, but stuff is going through my head. She was like, I'm scared they're gonna be mad at me. I'm like, who? She's like, the coaches. Because I don't know how to do anything. I don't know how to, I'm just scared they're gonna yell at me. I think I'm gonna mess everything up. So she was like really distraught. So I talked her off the ledge, I was like, girl, you ain't got nothing to be worried about. Half these kids here don't play football. I said, some of these kids, they just learn how to run. You're not alone. I said, I'm gonna be right there with you, So then I get her to smile, we take the picture, everything's cool, and I'm a man of my word. We go out on the field, and we start doing drills. I go right over to her. I saw her. She was hiding in the back. Because we make all the kids run together. And I tell the older kids, 17, 16, 17, you can tell the athletes. You can look at them. They ready to go. They got their own cleats. They got their wristbands. They got their they ready. I tell them kids, I say, hey, man, make sure y'all helping out the other kids. And if you got something then teach them, I don't care if they make it to the league, but I care about that girl, Nevaeh, having the confidence just to run 20 yards down the field. So I ran with her, right? And I let her beat me, you know. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. Gave her a big hug. I said, I told you you can do it. I said, and I will come find you. And I did. I found her multiple times. And then 3 people came up to me, and they told me about Nevaeh. They was like, man, Nevaeh's so happy. She said she never hugged a celebrity before. And I'm sitting there like, me? Me? 2-3 days later, I get a picture on my phone from an administrator from school. Nevaeh got my camp shirt on, big old smile on her face. They said she's a different person now. And I'm like, dang, bruh. See, that just gave me chills, bruh. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, she don't even play football. She never gonna play football most of, well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe she will, I don't know. But it's through football, through the platform I was on, through what I dreamt of, what I envisioned, that I ain't hitting nobody. I ain't hurting my neck. I ain't breaking no, bones or ligaments. Because that was kind of fun to me a little bit. I'm a little crazy. But you start refocusing. You start, doing this, and then stuff start clearing up, and you like, bro, you like doing stuff like that, bro. I'm still happy. That happened a week and a half ago, and I'm still, it still enlightens me and brings me joy. So for me, sorry I'll be long-winded. For me, it's like, it's not always about what you think you're supposed to be doing because you think you're supposed to be passionate, but it's like what you actually do that you're good at, that comes natural to you, that brings this joy, that brings this content. And that's what that's what I learned.
No, I wanna tag along with that because, can you hear me? My pivot, I still remember when I left the music industry, people thought I was crazy. This when the music industry was in its prime. I'm making a whole bunch of money. I'm on tour. I think I had just gotten off a tour with Wu-Tang or somebody. I don't remember. But this 2008, this pre-social media, this pre-smartphones, thank God, because y'all ain't do nothing compared to what we were doing. But anyway, I still remember when I left. I'm going to just be honest with you. Vernon Davis had a lot to do with me leaving the industry. Vernon, back in those days, I actually worked the Allen Iverson Project, Shaquille O'Neal. Athletes wanted to be rappers back then. Okay, back then everybody wanted to be a rapper. So whenever we're on tour, the athletes want to go backstage. I was basically the gatekeeper. So I established a good relationship with Vernon Davis, hanging out in the clubs in D.C. Actually met Vontae before, God bless him. My brother Vontae and Navarro, before they were even in the league, when they were in high school. And Vernon would always tell me, hey, Anton, I want to talk to you about some stuff. And I'm like, man, I'm on tour with Brian McKnight. Vernon, I ain't got time. He was like, listen, there's more to football that I want to be known for. How do I do that? And I think I brushed Vernon off for about a year. I was just like, man, I ain't got time. I ain't got time for this. And I still remember one time I invited him and Vontae to my house. I had a fight party. And not to be arrogant or cocky, I got $1 million house, and they looking around like, wow, you got stuff from all around the world and all this stuff. And, they were like, and you ain't never played professional. No, I was like, no. I was in the music industry. But I was like, yeah, I'm not, the typical record executive. Like, I was the type where when I left the club, I didn't drink. I've never had to drink alcohol in my life. Okay, I was always the guy that kept the artist out of trouble because I never drank. I'm like, all right, it's time to go. I can name numerous artists that I kept out of jail, but I won't go down that path. But we had a conversation after that changed me, that made me want to leave the music industry. Because Vernon was like, Anton, I'm passionate about other things besides football, but nobody knows it. Nobody in the world knows this about me. They just know me as being the tight end that ran a 4.38, got benched by a single. But I'm a painter. I was like, what? You paint? He's like, no, I'm a painter. I'm this, I'm that. But nobody knows this about me. How do I go about that? My agent, I'll be honest with you, agents, they'll tell you, they don't care about that side about them. They don't. They only care about the football side. So I was like, wow, okay. So then I did a deep dive and I did some research. And I noticed that majority of these athletes, especially, you don't know who they are. You know their stats, but who are they? Okay? And that week, I quit the music industry. I was like, you know what, I'm done. That was my pivot. That's when I started the company now. And when I tell you, Vernon, like I said, Vernon was the first athlete I worked with. I moved to San Francisco, lived with him for like a year, just to kind of be like, okay, Vernon, you want to do interior decorating? He's doing interior and decorate, all types of stuff. That people like, oh, wow, I didn't know you did this. Now look at Vernon Davis. He's known as the Renaissance man. But it's planting those seeds and planting that thought process in our young men, not just athletes, but athletes in particular, because what John just said, listen, football going to be taken away from you. It's going to happen. You have to find something that you're passionate for that's going to last for the next 40, 50 years. You're going to be irrelevant in sports before you're 30 years old. That's a fact. I'm going to tell all you aspiring guys that want to be in the pros, even if you do make it, you're going to be done before you're 30. You got 40 years, 50 years of your life. What you going to do? Okay? So it's up to you to find out and figure it out. And I tell my guys, we're going to use that NFL affiliation to amplify real estate, mogul, cannabis mogul, meditation mogul, restaurant mogul. Like, that's what I focus on. That's all I care about. All of these guys are philanthropists. All of them have foundations. Guys weren't thinking about having foundations 10, 15 years ago. They're changing the culture. And with social media, oh, God. I mean, I tell all the guys, social media is a tool. It's how you use it, okay? That's all it is. And we're going to use it to control the narrative of who you are now. Yeah, you were a football player, but that's something that you did. It's not who you are. See, the culture now, that's the problem. And that's what I said. We have to change how black men are identified. We're more than athletes. We're more than rappers. We're chemists. We're astronauts. We're all of these things. If our youth could just go back and check our history, they'll know. That's why they're trying to delete our history, but I'm not going to go down that road, okay? And I'm being honest. But it's up to us to teach them our history so they can see that they're more than just what they're perceived to in the culture that we create, but then the problem is that they control it. Coming from the music industry, I was in meetings where they would literally say, we need to dumb down this music. I was in the industry where they would say, we need to dumb down this music. And it wasn't nobody with any melanin in their skin. Oh, no, we have to pump $40 million into this music, which was degrading, amplifying all types of negative stuff, but the uplifting music, we're only going to put them on the shelf. And that was when music was corrupt. That's when it was labeled as urban. But I was like, well, why aren't the crossover artists? Oh, no, we can't. Oh, we can't say that. It was only our music. And I'll be honest with you. I have friends, and I still tell them, listen, you're part of the problem. We have black radio, and you have a middle-aged white guy controlling what's aired on black radio. I had a problem with that. And I left that because I'm like, you know what? They're controlling how we're perceived. They're controlling our narrative. I can't be a part of this no more. And I took that same mentality to sports. These guys will tell you. You got their agents or the people in their circle. I tell them, listen, to create balance in life, you have to have, like he said, people that's uncomfortable. Like, yeah, you got your sports people, but have people around you that don't care about nothing about sports. Because guess what? That's who you are. Sports is what you do. But it's who you are, and that's going to be the legacy. That's what people are going to remember. Him running with that girl. She's going to remember him for that. Not, okay, he won the Super Bowl, but no, that's going to remember. Dominique teaching a kid about real estate and all that, knowing how. And I'm going to be honest with you. One day, Dominique sent me a text. I won't go into detail what it was. But he literally brought a tear to my eye. Because he informed me how I helped him as a man. I can't, that's the reward that I look for. I have multiple businesses. I don't get rich off of the brand architects. I got 4 other businesses. I got 2 overseas. I travel, they'll tell you, I'm out the country every 3 months.
Yeah.
I'm gone. Yo, where you at now? Hey.
Bali.
Exact ballet. I'm going to the Olympics next weekend. Next in August in Paris. But see, I encourage that. Like this guy, he can't wait to get out the country every time. Yo, I'm in Italy. Yo, like, see, hearing that, this guy in Costa Rica, they had to kick him out. He going to Colombia tomorrow. Like, these are the things I love to see because we didn't see that when I was their age. So it's like we have to continue that advancement and, like I said, make it cool.
So I have two general questions I want to ask.
Yes.
I want you to participate.
No, it's fine. No, I was just going to say, one, if it's okay, kind of go back to the question you asked earlier about why this discussion is important. And I think that was kind of highlighted hearing, what life is like after, being a professional football player. But I think it highlights, too, for young boys that this idea that wealth and fame, and that's the only path to happiness, right? And that's when they look at football, and I think it's interesting for this discussion with having professional football players up here, because I remember as I watch football and I see you all on the field, you represent at that moment, maybe not intentionally, every potential stereotype of what it means to be a man is represented on that field through that football screen, through the TV screen, right? And as a young boy, you watch that, and that's all you see, because you don't get to see the behind the scenes. You don't get to hear everything else. And so all those stigmas about man up, every time they get injured and they still playing, they're like, yeah, he's manning up, right? And you don't get to see this other side. The other part I wanted to say is just when you're talking about the importance of this discussion is, one, just talk about a little bit of the statistics with men and mental health. 6 million men approximately are suffering from depression every day. And we was talking about, opioid abuse. Out of opioid abuse, 2/3 of the deaths related to it are men, right? Then we're thinking about when men are only 35% of men ever seek treatment or help for the issues that they have. And when there's a survey, and I thought it was very interesting, they said, as a male, when would you look for help or seek help? And 40% said, I will only ask for help when I'm at the point about to commit suicide or self-harm. And let that sink in. So that means by the time a man asks for help, he's already at his last option. And that relates to the idea men are more successful at committing suicide. Men use more lethal means because, one, they don't need to take pills because they don't need the option of surviving it. They're going to take the gun. They're going to do the hanging and all of this. But that also means that as we raise men, when they get to this point where they don't see options, that's because we conditioned them to not see options. From the moment they're a little boy, hey, when you say you're going to be a man, this is how you be a man, and this is your option, and that's the only one you got. When you say what you're going to be and how you're going to act and how you're going to behave, what sports you're going to play, what activities you're going to engage in, here are the ones you can pick for just for men. All these other ones are not for you. So every part of their life has been limited options, and by the time they get to the point of suicide, they don't know options. And that is part of why this discussion is so important, to start giving men options again, so they can see more doors and not just one, right? Yeah.
I'm so happy because that was my next question, and I was coming to you, so that was perfect. Laid out all the stats, and I wanted you to elevate that. So thank you so much. And so before we go to audience questions, I'm going to loop this into, you can decide which one you would like to answer in terms of prioritizing your mental health, working on your emotional intelligence. Either talk about how that has impacted fatherhood for you. We just celebrated Father's Day, or share how it has impacted romantic relationships, because that's something as well. Like when we are developing our emotional intelligence, when we bring that into relationships, it changes how we've looked at romantic relationships and personal relationships. So whichever you would like to chime in on in terms of how has it impacted fatherhood and family, or how has it impacted romantic relationships?
Yeah, so for me, like I'm a guy that has a lot of patience, man. It has made me aware for my son and my kids. We have a blended family, me and my girl. But it has made me be soft with my girls and just being able to talk to them and being able to be vulnerable with them and the boys, my boys, being able to talk to them as as young guys, like just being able to be open and honest with them on a day-to-day basis on how I'm feeling and wanting to know how they're feeling, like what's going on at school, how are they handling their day-to-day school basis with their friends and teaching them about other surroundings that they go through with the kids at school because there is bullying at school, and I'm just being able to guide them in a way that I was never guided by my father. You know what I'm saying? Teaching them to be able to stand up in those moments, and just having a voice for themselves. I think that's huge. Because I didn't have that. I had my grandfather tell me that, but growing up as a man now, like I'm so vulnerable, man, and I'm gonna tell you how I'm feeling on whatever it may be, whatever the case may be. Emotionally, like emotional intelligence, like it has done so much to me, man. Like I know who I am. I know how to conversate with people. I know how to just be in the vicinity and know how to be there for people. Relationally, like I'm gonna be honest with you, like Anton know this big time, man. Like when I was married, man, I was up and down, very up and down, and we would talk all the time. I'm talking about crying, tears, everything. But mental health has really changed my life, man. Of what I need and how I can be a service to other people. I think that's one of the biggest things ever. So I think it's grown me in so many different ways, and I think that who I am today, I'm thankful for who I am today because that person that I was years and years ago, man, I was ready to call it quits. Like we just talked about suicide, man. I was sitting in a dark room and having these different challenges of playing football and being a husband and on the end of being divorced and all that stuff. Like I've gone through all those different things. I've had those moments where I wanted to call it quits. I had those moments with therapists of not wanting to just be here, So it's changed my life for the better, man. And I've talked to a therapist before, and sometimes I might check in, just to see how I'm doing. But where I am now is a greater version than what I was years back, man.
For me, definitely in all aspects, mental health has definitely allowed me to grow, but definitely in relationships. So I
I know his story too.
I grew up in a single family home. Like I lived with my mom, but my father was my best friend. But my mother had to raise two big black men in the projects. So that came with what I understand now is a lot of trauma, right? She couldn't show emotions. She was very masculine, and when it came to women, she was very protective, right? So every woman back in the day, to her was a hoochie mama, all right? So I didn't understand how to treat women. I didn't. Like I understood how to treat the women in my life who were my family, but I didn't know how to treat a woman in a relationship. I didn't understand how to listen. I didn't understand how to not react. I didn't understand that my vulnerability will help the change that comes with the non-reaction to a reactive person. You know what I mean? In a relationship, you have two people. Unfortunately, both persons is not gonna grow at the same time. Like it's very rare for that to happen. So one person has to be that vulnerable person to make that change in every aspect of their relationship. Meaning, when y'all in an argument, right? It's normally who wins the argument. That one person has to understand the winner of the argument is the person that allowed that person to get out whatever they had to say, listen to whatever they had to say, and communicate back to that person to understand what exactly that person is feeling. Because it's all emotions, right? We all argue, we all love out of emotion, so it's understanding how to explain that emotion. So that my mental health journey has allowed me to listen more, be a better husband, be a better son, be a better father in many different ways. It allows that change to happen. Right? I got 3 morals in life, and honestly, like I just figured this out, I say in the past 2 weeks. It's family, vulnerability, and change. For me, without my family, there's no happiness, right? Without vulnerability, there's no happiness in family. Without change, there's no growth or vulnerability or happiness within family. So those are the 3 things that I try to live through and activate in my family and who I am as a being. And it allows, like I said, it allows that change. So when there is an argument, I'm not perfect, but I'm also able to come back and communicate. I was wrong for this. You know what I mean? Like, I should have never talked to you that way. I should have never did that. But now I can communicate how I'm feeling. And I feel like that's the first step, is awareness and accountability in a way a person can understand that you're taking accountability, because people in their minds, and I was one of these people that thought I was taking accountability because I was telling myself I'm taking accountability, but it's really the person who you're conversating with needs to understand that, so it can be effective conversation. It can be effective communication. And like I said, for me, that revolves around everything in my life now, whether that's business, whether that's personal, whether that's intimacy. Communication with my vulnerability allows change and allows growth, and I continue to try to do that and instill that in my kids and instill that in my community, so we can stop being enemies towards each other, when all it is, right, it's a change of perception. If you understand a person's intentions, you won't react that way. But the problem is we can't really communicate our real intentions, and a person receiving that communication can't allow the grace to understand that the person ain't perfect and their intentions is healthy towards you. You know what I mean? So that is, for me, is communication and vulnerability.
Touched on a lot right there, bro. I was about to say, like, I'm thinking, what else could I say? I would add, for me, it's helped me with my mental health journey has helped me become more self-aware in my partnerships. And I'm not a father, so I'm a godfather, but in my partnerships, it's helped me become more self-aware in how I show up, and allow me to be able to identify, my words aren't in alignment with my actions right now. And that was a big step for me in my previous partnership. Like, bro, you can say one thing, but your actions are not matching up with what you just said you was going to do or how you was going to show up. And I had to look myself in the mirror and own up to it. And like, E said, like, I'm sorry I didn't show up the way that I said that I was going to. And being able to take ownership in that and have that accountability was big for me. So self-awareness is really my whole piece that's I'm going to continue to take with me into future partnerships.
So a couple words that we really didn't touch upon, but I know we all possibly still struggle with it, is pride and ego. Something that you need to have in what we did for so long, and you could be full of it in the league and you'll be fine. You'll be good. I got a 12-year-old daughter.
It.
Yeah, right. I got a 12-year-old daughter, man, and when she was, I think, 8 years old, man, little girls, man, they got some mouths on them, boy. Whew. So one day, I took her to the Jersey Shore for 3 days. 2 days by the beach. The last day was at the boardwalk. And then later on, we were supposed to see her cousins. All for her, right? So the last day, she was giving me some problems. I said, well, Jay, we're going to go to the boardwalk. I don't want to go to the boardwalk. I want to go to the beach. She said, I'm going to be bored at the boardwalk. And I was like, that was kind of good, though. But come on, girl. So we going back and forth. She gave me a hard time. We go to the thing, and she's kind of just attitude and lip, and I'm like, man, like we been having a good time, and that was that. And then we go home. My cousin comes over with his daughters, and one of them is like my daughter's age, one was a little older. We're doing TikTok videos, And I think this was the end of our little TikTok run that me and my daughter had. I'm the director, she's the star, and we had that planned out. It was working. But if any of y'all have kids, you know they start showing out when they family and they friends and their little cousins is around. So she was showing out, doing a lot, doing the most. And I'm like, all right, kid. Then she got disrespectful. With not just me, with my ex-girlfriend at the time and my cousins. So I looked at my cousin and said, bro, you gotta go, bro. And I was like, kid, go upstairs, go take a shower, you going to bed. Just all day back and forth, right? So I go upstairs. She was really rude to my ex-girlfriend, snatched something out of her hand. And I ain't never really seen her do stuff like that. So I went upstairs, and right before she jumped in the shower, I was like, hey, kid, what's going on? Why you being so rude and disrespectful, like, to me and, Uncle Alex and my ex? And she was like, damn, it's crazy. Yo, looked me in my eyes, fam, said, you know why I'm disrespectful to you? Because you disrespectful to B. I lost. You little explicit, but what? Like, first of all, I'm a grown man. Nobody talk to me like that. Like, look me up and down like I ain't worth a damn. Boy, at 8, bro. And I'm like, yo, so I'm yelling almost at the top of my lungs. I'm dropping explicits. I'm cursing, da-da-da-da. She's peering through my soul. Like, looking at me like, I know you ain't gonna do nothing. Like, that's the look she had. I swear I felt defeated, bro. I felt defeated by my 8-year-old daughter. And I went upstairs and my ex she said, man, I heard that. That was scary. And I was like, I know, I don't feel good about that. I felt bad, I felt horrible. She hit me with this. And I'm gonna leave y'all with something else too, but she hit me with this. She said, my dad used to yell at me like that. And when he did, I didn't hear nothing he was saying. I was like, shit. Like, for me, it was like, all right, you might have to change your approach. The ego and your pride got you like that because she challenged you. And I got challenged, and usually a man challenge you, I go ahead and do something about it, you know what I'm saying? It's different. And then these is the last words for all the fathers in here that maybe have that pride and that ego like me, and that's dealing with these little girls. Strike when the iron is cold. Strike when the iron is cold. So, my daughter plays basketball. I was coaching her. And she might not have a good game, and don't get on her right after the game when she's hot. Same situation. I may not be yelling, but she's just not going to receive it. And it's going to be almost a conflict. And then it kind of equals the playing field. And I'm probably going to lose because when me and her argue for somehow, I don't know how I'll be losing. I'm a great debater, but I'll be losing to that little girl. But when she's calmed down and she's relaxed, just not as hot, and I talk to her while I'm composed, most importantly, and my ego is checked to the side, my pride is checked to the side, we have groundbreaking conversations. And our relationship since that day, coming from the Jersey Shore, and the strike when the iron is cold, it's done nothing but blossom. But it wasn't about her, it was about me. And I think I was always a good dad, but now I'm more of a thoughtful dad, more of a patient dad. Somebody that can communicate on her level, not on my level, on her level. And I feel like that, the pride and the ego, because something that I think we've kind of blended it in there, but we never really said those words. But as I feel like alpha guys, sometimes it's really hard to check that. But it's necessary at certain times.
Yeah. I wanna piggyback on that in regards to relationships. So, it'll be my 10-year anniversary this September.
All right.
So I've been with my wife for 12 years. So, but you know what? Prior to that, I was almost like Dom. I didn't believe in marriage. Like, listen, I was in the music industry. I'm gonna just be honest here. I dated all the video vixens. You name them, I dated them.
Did he?
I was I was running through them.
Yeah.
But, but that's why I didn't get married until I was ready, though. Okay, and I'm going to tell you this. I got married when I was 40. Well, I met my wife when I was 40. All right? I'm going to be 52 next week. It's my birthday. All right? So we've been married 10 years. Prior to when I met my wife, it was actually I was in San Francisco with Vernon. Oh, man, this when the 49ers would, come on, Kaepernick, all these guys. So women were all over the place. I had and I had just got out of a toxic relationship. Toxic. So I'm out there like, man, listen, marriage, relationship, I'm not hearing none of it. I had a mutual friend that was like, hey, listen, I want to introduce you to somebody. I'm like, man, whatever, I ain't trying to hear it. Nah, she's French, she's a ballerina. I'm like, okay. I'm like, all right, whatever, whatever. We have an event. And if you know me, I'm a legs dude. If you got legs and calves, that's my weakness. So we standing in there, we having a fundraising event, actually. Half the 49, Braylon there was everybody like, yo, who's that? I'm like, yeah, who's that? My boy, you big dummy, that's the one I want to introduce you to. I'm fighting Vernon and hey, get away from her, get away from her. Point is, I'm like, okay, let me see what she's about. We went out to dinner that following week. And my wife changed me with that conversation. And I'm going to tell you why. She didn't ask about none of my ex. She didn't ask any. First, she didn't want to talk to me because she thought I was an athlete. She was like, oh, no more athletes. She was like, my wife actually used to date Boris Becker. I don't know anybody's tennis players, but he was a world famous. He was like the Jordan in Germany. So she was like, no athletes, like in a French accent, which I was like, okay, that's sexy. But, but I'm still not thinking any marriage. I'm like, nah, point is, my wife, I'm thinking everything's good. She was like, hey, listen, we need to end this. I'm like, why? She's like, you know what? I'm about to go on tour. I know you're going to do your thing, blah, 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 blah. In my mind, I'm like, wow, I never had a female do that to me. Like, what? Who do you think you are? So to prove her wrong, I FaceTimed my wife every day, regardless of what country she was in. That taught me commitment. That broke my pride down. And it showed my vulnerability, like, okay, you know what? Wow. All right. Long story short, she comes back, we're still dating. I did a bonehead move. I didn't cheat on her, but I was flirting with somebody. And the way she handled that, I knew she was my wife. She didn't yell. She didn't get upset. She kept her cool. She said, listen, I'm going to practice. By the time I come home, you need to decide whether it's going to be you and me or you and them. From that point on, I was in love with my wife. And like I said, I got married when I became vulnerable and when I got everything out of my system. And, marriage is a partnership. And that's one thing that my wife has showed me. Like my wife don't bite her, she's French, so she don't bite her tongue. And she told me that in our wedding vows. She's like, I am going to make you better, and I'm going to hold you accountable for what you do and who you are, and I want you to do the same for me. So it's a partnership and it's a commitment. When we travel the world, guess what? She pays for her stuff, I pay for mine. Like, we are helping each other out. But also, she also breaks me down when I need it. And that vulnerable pride point is important because she's actually helped me as a better man, where now, guess what? I'm helping him out. Me and Cole had conversations. I'm like, hey, man, I'm telling you, this is what you got to do. And what he said is critical. We got pride. And listen, I was an egotistical bastard when I was in the industry. You couldn't tell me, man, whatever. I used to go, oh, man, why don't you talk to Shorty? Whatever, she ain't even in my class. Like, I was wilding. But it showed me also the beauty in partnership, the beauty and vulnerability with my wife. And that's why I'm so committed to her. Like now, with me, I'm a Cancer. So either I rock with you or I don't. So with that, he knows how it is. Loyalty to me is the most important thing. I don't care about anything else. I don't care who you are, whatever. It's loyalty and commitment. And she's taught me that and helped me with my mental battles because that's my baby, man. She's just really opened my world and my life to so many things that I realized I wasn't even real, missing prior. So, what he said, communication and vulnerability is critical in regards to relationships too.
Awesome. So we have like 20 minutes because I think we're supposed to end at 2. I think it's like 1:40. So want to open the floor to questions. We'll start here and then we'll go around. I'll come with the mic. No problem.
Yeah, thank you, brothers. This is deep. My name is Chike Uzok. I'm a financial advisor teaching financial literacy for youth and young adults. If you could help us understand, what are some daily actionable things that y'all do to keep this in order so that the rest of the day goes well and things like that?
Man, I know for me, waking up in the morning, I'm definitely talking to, big man upstairs, man. That's one, like, literally we have a conversation a lot. You know what I'm saying? All throughout the day. When I first wake up, that'd be the first thing. I don't touch my phone. I don't believe in touching my phone when I first get up because I feel like I don't want to put that in my face or have that, in my thought process when I first wake up in the morning. So for me, that's one of the things that I do. I know, being able to see my kids, I go see my kids. But also throughout the day, working out is not just about the physical aspect, man. It really helps with my mental health because when I go in there and I get a workout in, like, I feel so much release, like, that I have pent up in my body and my mind. Like, it just really just releases everything. And after that workout, I just feel like I've conquered everything. You know what I mean? When I just feel so great, I feel good, and I could just do everything else throughout my whole day. Before we even got started with this whole panel, man, just talking about other things that we do. Like, me and my girlfriend, we go on walks, man. Like, go on different walks, different parts. We literally sit on Google to find, like, hey, which part we gonna try today so we could just go on a walk. You know what I mean? Because it's so important to just get out there in nature and to be able to be with the source of the creator, you know what I'm saying, that has created us to be able to on this earth, man. And it's so beautiful, man, what God has done. But on this journey, man, just being able to do those things, just having a great walk can change your whole aspect of your day, So those are some of the things that I do. I read as well. Reading is good for me too. I got a couple books that I've read that are pretty good. I got to look them up if you guys want to know, because it's been a minute since I read them. But I'll let you guys know. But yeah, that's some of the things that I do.
It's a great question. So something that I started for myself a few years back is I created a list of non-negotiables. So things that, under any circumstances, I'm going to continue to do before I get started on whatever I got on my agenda for that day, right? And so whatever that is for you, you can create and customize your own list of non-negotiables, right? And so that could be prayer time, that could be journaling time, that could be meditation, that could be breath work, that could just be going for a walk, right? But whatever that is, create and set that boundary and don't compromise that. So if you got to wake up earlier to do that, then so be it. And if you got to go to sleep earlier to wake up earlier, then so be it. So create that list of non-negotiables. That's something that I do, and I hope that's helpful and practical for you.
So I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I ain't perfect. I got kids. So I don't do something every single day that helps me with my mental health. I'm not. I don't, and it's hard too, to be honest. Recently I've been very depressed, and I just figured out why. To go back to what you said, working out is not just a physical thing. And I'm talking amongst athletes because this is something that's been our job, and this is something that's a normal thing that allows us to feel a certain way. So I just figured out, for me, working out is great, but I don't get to do that every day. I'm not perfect, like I just said. One thing I do every day is be vulnerable about my day. So if I am having a hard day, or if I am going through something, I do speak upon that, and I do have these conversations with the people that's closer in my life. So I wish, and I'm trying to strive to figure out something that I can be very consistent on a daily basis. But life happens, and that's reality, and nobody, I can't say nobody, but me, I'm not gonna be able to sit there and do the same exact thing every single day to work on my mental health. I have to understand that day, what do I need in that day? You know what I mean? Yeah, like you just said, I guess, hey, he just helped me out right here. That's what I do every day. I give myself grace. I appreciate that, big fella.
All right, we have another question here in the back.
How you gentlemen doing? I'm Dwight Banks. I'm a financial services guy here in Atlanta. But one of the things I want to commend you, one, on your vulnerability and being able to speak to it. But what I want to do is ask you guys a question. I'm 51, so I didn't really grow up in the social media area. As an athlete, how'd you guys deal with or handle those hang-arounds once you decided to take your mental health seriously? And if they were acceptive or receptive to your journey, and how'd you guys deal with that? Losing friends or gaining them or what have you? How was your approach to that?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really deal with the hangers-on when I was dealing with mental health. I just started struggling with the mental health post-retirement, and I didn't have no hangers-on by then. I already figured it out. I already got rid of them guys. But there are people that, and I said this earlier, and it was funny, but we all have these circles, right? And the circle of friends, right? And that closest circle that's to you, it shouldn't be that many people in there. It should be only a couple people in there, right? There's some people that you can never get rid of. You know what I'm talking about? Parents, brothers, sisters, like they're not going anywhere. So for me, just to kind of answer your question a little bit, I'm gonna use my dad for an example. I love my dad. My dad's a clown and a half. But he ain't really teach us how to be men, And he's also, I don't want to talk crazy about my dad, but he ain't really he always, when he called me, I know why he calling me. He ain't checking on me. You know what I'm saying? But it's my dad. You know what I'm saying? It's my dad, I stopped talking to him for 6 months, right? 6 months, because he asked me for money, and I'm taking care of my brothers and sisters, which is his kids. I'm paying lawyer fees. I'm bailing people out. I'm doing everything. I got 9 brothers and sisters, and 6 of them is his, including me, so 7. And I'm taking care of basically everybody. And then he asked me for money. And I'm like, hell no. Matter of fact, I don't even rock with you, bro. I'm losing respect for my pops, right? So what I did was, right, and this was, I had to laugh at it because stopped talking to him for 6, 7 months, right? I'm at the barbershop in Jersey City, and this is finishing my 9th year, thinking about that 10th year, but this is the year I ended up retiring. I didn't play no more after this, right? I just literally decided, maybe a week before, that I was retiring. But I've been contemplating it, I've been training. I'm at the barbershop. Here come my father walking in the barbershop. I'm like, God damn it, it's Flash. My dad's name is Flash Gordon. That's my dad's name. That's his real name, right? The imagery, right? So he walks in, and I'm like, damn it, it's Flash. What's up, Flash? He act like everything was cool. Mind you, Father's Day passed, my birthday passed, his birthday passed. He been blowing, I ain't been responding, he been hitting my sister up, my brother, yo, what's up, yo, you called Dad? I said, no, I don't rock with him, bro. So this is when everything reality hit for sure, and I had to put everything in perspective. So he came in and acted like everything was cool. This is what he said to me, the first thing he said, man, man, you got to call, remember Damon Harrison's Snacks? He said, man, you got to hit Snacks up, man. I got to get up in the Giant Stadium for the games. And I'm like, this the first thing he say to me after all these months. And mind you, I didn't really curse him out, but I'm respectful to my dad. You know what I'm saying? Even though I lost respect for him, I never, disrespected him ever to this day. So my dad's such a N-word. Y'all know what I'm saying, too. Y'all know what I'm saying. So he was like, this is what he hit me with, right? He see my car, that's why he know I was inside the barbershop. So he was like, what you doing right now? Where you need a ride to, Flash? Right? I gotta go clock out. Y'all see what I'm saying, right? So, right. So I take up the clock out, and as I'm dropping them off, I say, you know what? Let me just get this off my chest, man, right? Yo, this joke is crazy. And I was like, man, look, I just wanted to let you know, man, the reason why I ain't been talking to you, because I feel like I've been taking care of your kids, and then you coming at me asking me for money, like, bro, what you doing? Like, this ain't right. Like, come on, man, step it up. He's like, yeah, man, everybody go through their stuff every now and again. I'm like, bro, this ain't about me, bro. You know what I'm saying? This ain't about me. So I'm sitting there like, let me just restructure what I said to kind of dumb it down to my dad. As I'm talking, we driving to Jersey City, the windows is down. In the middle of me talking to him, I'm pouring my heart out to him. He gonna say, hey, yo, Tony, what up? Hey, man, I'm with my son, man. Super Bowl, bro. I'm talking to him. He about to wave down his friend to introduce me to a dude I probably met 20 times. Call the dude over. Dude busy. He don't even want to deal with my dad. He like, bro, what you want, bro? So he come over to the car. He say, oh, hey, man, what's up? Then he just leave. And then that's when it hit me. He don't even care. He don't even care. He don't care. So, this is my father. I lost respect for him before that, and I didn't really restore it. I just put it in perspective. For somebody like your parents or my father or whoever it is, some people you just can't have that close to you. So what I did was, I was talking about my dad when I said I moved him, not out completely of all the circles, because it's my father, but far enough to where I can reach him if I need. I'm not going to let my dad sleep on the street, but far away enough so he can't touch me whenever he wants. And that's something, when you talk about hanger-ons, some people, you're like childhood friends, it's kind of hard to get rid of a childhood friend or a brother or a cousin, whatever it is. Just find a place for them. And sometimes it's out there a little bit where you can, if you reach for them, you can get them, but they can't just touch you whenever they want to and get you all messy with their shit. You know what I'm saying?
We have another question right here.
Hello, gentlemen. How you doing? I'd like to give you guys a wonderful job, man. Just to see my brothers up there just talking, being vulnerable. I had a question for you and a couple of guys who feel they want to answer. What does depression look like for those who, it may be all going fine, everything may be going well, I may be connecting all the dots, or a person may be connecting all the dots, but what does depression look like for that person? How can they know, like, maybe you need to check this? What made you visit your vulnerability? What made you know to keep your circle smaller? What made you know to keep pushing in areas that you may need? For those people who may need that. And the second part of that question for my brother here, I think he was trying to explain why do we only speak to each other. And in our community, we're learning how to be more vulnerable to other people before we can advance to speak to other people. So we got to get ourselves together first, then we'll be right on point to where you may think you and God need to see us, and I promise you that. So how do we know, back to us, how do we know that what depression looks like and when it's time to be a little more vulnerable? Like you, my brother, you say you're still dealing with depression. What does depression look like for you that you're still dealing with it on a daily basis, if you care to share with us?
So for me, what I realized, depression shuts me down. It enables, I guess, a characteristic that isn't me. And the way I honestly realized it is just by listening to people that was around me. You know what I mean? Everybody that's been around me has been telling me or has been asking me what's wrong, right? So after a while, you got to understand, okay, something might be wrong, and it's okay to do that, but you just got to talk about it and figure it out. Like I said, I'm still going through it today. I was just in the gym with my father for this. This is the second day that I'm back in the gym, and I didn't realize how much like that made me feel so good. Like we was in the sauna, we just sitting there. I'm just like, yo, I really need to do this every day because like this makes me happy. like I'm back dancing. Like I'm a happy person. I love dancing. I love listening to music, and I felt that energy. And it's just like, yo, I need to do this. I need to do this because it's only gonna be better for the rest of the people around me, because now I'm able to be myself, and now I'm not putting my trauma on them. You know what I mean? So me figuring that out, it was a journey, and it's still gonna be a journey, and I'm still trying to figure it out. But the thing that's helping me is that I'm being very open about it, and I'm trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? As far as one thing I do wanna talk on what you said when you was just like, we have to figure out ourselves first before we can go out. I'm gonna tell you, I don't feel the same way when it comes to that, and I'm gonna tell you the reason why. One thing that we get stuck on as a community, as what you want to call it, men, what you want to call it, women, people, we get stuck in the fact that we have to figure out everything ourselves. We have to build ourselves up before we can go ask this person for help, or we can go help this person. Nah, it should never be like that. This person right here is gonna help me build myself up. I can't do it without this person right here. So there's no way for me to sit there and say, I'm gonna figure out myself. And I used to say the same thing, like, nah, I gotta figure out myself before I can go help this person out. Nah, that's how we always gonna stay in that same position, because we're still gonna be trying to figure out ourselves. You can't figure out yourself. The people around you have to help you figure out yourself, because they're the one that's looking at you from a point of view that you can't even see. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to touch on that. But as far as the depression point, I feel like everybody at a point in life goes through depression, right? What that looks like for everybody is totally different, but you don't know until you open your ears and have people around you to be able to tell you these type of things. You know what I mean? And you have to be able to have that comfortable space. And that goes back to the vulnerability and the change part. As long as you continue to do it, like if you have your wife, if your wife isn't receptacle of your vulnerability because it's new, right? You can't expect women, I'm talking about black women, right? Black women has been built up with so much trauma, it's disgusting, right? And that's by men, that's by the women as well. You have to give grace for them to understand that. So the more you communicate, the more, no matter what their reaction is, if they screaming, they yelling, if you yell back, now you just took 10 steps back, right? But if you don't and you allow that and you take that, at some point they're gonna figure out, well, damn, I'm not getting a reaction. What else should I do? You know what I mean? And that's where change comes in. And that's where understanding, okay, he's going through something, I can communicate with him and he's not gonna yell at me. Even if he is gonna yell at me, I'm still gonna be able to communicate it to him in a way that he feels comfortable, knowing that I'm not attacking you for being in a uncomfortable or honestly a place in depression, you know, because you're chemically imbalanced at that point. So you can't act the same way. And that person that's helping you out has to give you grace. And that comes with that vulnerability and that growth in it. So to answer your question, talking about it, asking more people, having the people around you, working on being comfortable to be able to communicate that you are going through something and receiving it will help you understand, yo, I'm going through something and I need help. What that help looks like, I still don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I still to this day do not know what my helps look like, because it's gonna be different in every situation that I'm going through. Any type of trauma that I'm going through, I'm gonna need a certain type of help. I don't know what that is, but I'm hoping that the people around me, and I'm gonna allow the people around me to help me figure that out.
Hey, I got you, my brother. Good afternoon, brothers. I appreciate all the information you all were sharing, the vulnerability that you all expressed. I could be able to use that for myself. And the question that I have, well, my name is Quaylen. I'm a poet, and I work here at the Black Man Lab. It's one of the organizations we have here locally. And yesterday, we were working with a lot of the youth that we have, and we did an assignment where we asked them to write or to draw where they are now, where they see themselves at 20, and then where they see themselves at 50. And more than half of them were talking about how, yes, my life right now is good. In my 20s, I see myself being a professional athlete, whether it be basketball, soccer, football, whatever it may be. And at 50, they see themselves retired and like just sitting in a pool, maybe traveling, chilling with their cats and something like that. And then we went for the rest of the day, and I'm seeing that they're not disciplined. You know, they are always as respectful as they need to be. But I know that
I don't want to tell them, hey, you can't do this because, I don't want to instill doubt or fear or whatever it may be. So as professional athletes who have made it to that level and then have gone and done the retiree aspect of it, what are some of the things that I could tell them that they need, one, mentally to get to that professional level, and then what can I do to help show them that, hey, you can expand your vision of what you're doing after those few years that you're in the league? What are some things that I can instill to them to help them grow that?
Great question. I literally just had that conversation with kids last weekend. We're a little different. I made it to where the kids want to go, in terms of, like you said, you ask a group of 10 black kids what they want to be, 7 of them want to play in the NFL, 2 want to play in the NBA, and maybe 1 want to be a public, figure, right? Maybe a doctor, maybe you'll get one. But I hear you. I swear I tell these kids it's impossible. Because it's true. The numbers say it. The numbers say it. The numbers say that it's impossible. Like it's like 0.0 whatever, 0.1, whatever it is. It's like a higher chance to get struck by lightning. You know what I'm saying? And I tell them straight up, it's impossible to do that. I said, but look at me. I did the impossible. And sometimes when you shoot for impossible, you even go further. Because I had dreams of going to the NFL when I was in 4th grade. If you look at this, I don't know how I graduated in 4th grade, but there was a picture of me, I didn't even know it existed. A friend sent it to me like 15 years ago. That said I wanted to be a scientist, I was a nerd, and I wanted to be in the NFL. I didn't even know I wrote that down because I didn't even play football then, which was crazy. But the universe works in crazy ways when you start putting it out there, right? So I told those kids I only had a dream to make it to the league. I never had a dream I was going to win 2 Super Bowls. I never had a dream that I was going to be the captain of my home team. So sometimes it's impossible, but sometimes when you reach for the impossible, you can even go further than that. So I think that's a good message, but like I said, I'm a little different than you, but take it for you and let them know, because their actions don't line up to what they're trying to accomplish. Because if you're trying to be one of the greatest ... a professional ... meaning you're one of the best in the country, best in the world, there's a small percentage of those people. And most of those people right now, they are working hard, diligently. Some of these people coming from across town that have a lot more, support, a lot more resources. So for me, be as real as you can, given the age group, of course. Be specific to the age person you're talking to. Like, this is what I like to do. I like to generally talk to, I like the intimate setting. This is intimate for me, but sometimes I do 200 kids, right? That's cool. But then there's always a couple teachers that bring up the kid at the end that's a big black kid with dreads or something, like good-looking kid, but he's probably one of those kids that's super athlete, maybe smart, but not really doing what he's supposed to be doing. It's always one of those 2, 3 of those kids, and they bring him up to me, and I pull him to the side, and now you about to get the real me. We about to have a real conversation on the side, and I'm gonna talk to you like I talk to depending on the age, right? If he's 11, I talk to him like I talk to my daughter. If he's 17, I'm talking to him like a grown-ass man. Hey, nigga, what's up, bruh? What you trying to do? You know what I'm saying? Like, straight up. Straight up. So depending on, the age of the kid, be as real as you can be. But let them know the route that they're going, what that takes to get there, it ain't lining up right now. You know what I'm saying? But you be honest as you can with that. I be straight G'ing it up with these kids. I look at them straight in their faces. You ain't gonna do it. It's impossible. You can't. I mean, I did it though. I did the impossible. So did he. 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 Like, we gotta leave?
No, you're good. You're good.
So don't ruin their dreams, but just put it in perspective for them, because some of these kids, they don't even understand what that word means. They don't know what grind means, because I think everybody has the ability to work hard. I think everybody. has an ability to work hard. Most people have an innate ability to be lazy, which is what we fight every single day, right? To be productive. But there's only a couple of people, I think, in this room right now that knows what the grind really is, which is pushing past working hard, pushing past limits, pushing past being tired and exhausted. That's the way you accomplish more than the impossible. Things like that. So, of course, tune it to the demographic, but don't shatter their dreams. I do. I shatter their dreams, and then I say, but you can do your dreams and even more. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I deliver it to them, because they like, what? I hit them in the face first. Wake up. You know, sometimes they talking. You know, and I ask them what they want to be. Everybody raise their hand. Going to the NFL, I say, you know it's impossible to do that, right? And they looking like, I said, yeah, you have no chance of going. But I had no chance. You see what I'm saying? So I kind of use that message a little bit. Use it for yourself. But if you can push that out on them, let them know that what they're trying to do, it takes a lot more than what you're actually doing. You know?
I want to chime in on that real quick, too. But also make sure that you plant a plan B and a plan C dream. Let's be real here. Like John said, he wanted to be in the NFL, but he also wanted to be a scientist. See, we've been programmed. Trust me, I know. I work with them. We've, in society, been programmed to only be one thing, athletic or entertainment. Planning them now, like, okay, you know what, yeah, you want to be in the NFL, but do you want to be a chemist? Do you want to be an astronaut? Because guess what? Everybody talks about the crabs in the barrel mentality that we have in our culture. You know what part of that problem is? Because we're pushing all our kids to be competitive in one industry. And they're fighting each other while they're keeping everything else. You see what I mean? You know, that once again, reiterating to what I focus on with the guys. I don't care about sports. That needs to be instilled when they're young. Okay? We have to aspire them to not, okay, play, you want to play. No, why don't you own a team 40, 50 years from now? Or don't even have anything to do with the entertainment industry. I'll be honest with you. I was in the entertainment industry. I hate listening to music now. I don't even watch games. I just check I'm being honest. I just make sure that my guys ain't get hurt. But even if they did get hurt, these guys will know. Yo, you good? Yeah, get the tears out. Now we focusing on your businesses. We focusing on your foundation. We focusing on this other stuff. Football, put it to the side, whatever. And that's how you have to instill that in their young minds now. Because they are more than athletes. They could do so much more. But our own community entrap them sometimes. We set them up for that road. So instill that as well, please.
So we got in the interest of time, Dr. Frame, you can go ahead and give your comments. We got 2 more questions. But I wanted to give something, a stat. I had to Google it real quick just to give some perspective to this young man's question and to what John was saying. The NFL has 32 teams. There are a total of 1,698 players in the NFL. That is it. The NBA, the number is even fewer. So to your point, I just wanted to put some perspective on the impossible, that, as you call it, because it is not easy. It says that of the 29,000 NCAA athletes across all sports, only 0.06 of those players will actually make it to the professional level. So it's not that you can't do it, but understand the impossible you're trying to get to.
But even if you get there, the typical career is 3 to 5 years.
2.9 years.
Just to build on that real fast, though,
Sure.
but I want you to look at the word impossible. IMPOSSIBLE, right? I'm possible, even as it relates to the impossible. So it's possible.
All right, here we go. We got this young man here, and they have another question in the back, and then we have some other folks who got a few things to say, so we can wrap it up this afternoon.
All right, my name is Makai. I'm 18. I just graduated like exactly a month ago. I know you guys talked about, how you found relief within yourself, like post retirement. But as I'm transitioning to college, my freshman year for high school was COVID, so I didn't really have that transition. So, when I'm transitioning to college as a collegiate athlete now, how do I find relief within myself, also balancing athletics and my career at the same time?
So figure out what's fun for you, right? Life, we only got one life. Regardless of how you put it, there's only one of these things that we do, that we live, and experiences that we go through, right? Try everything as possible. This is what I always tell everybody. Try as much as possible. Don't think about the ifs or the ands or the buts. You're in college to do that, right? So try that, figure out what's fun to you, and work on that every day. Like if you figure out you wanna, what do you wanna, what is your interest right now? Outside of basketball? Yeah. What do you like? A better question. What do you like to do for fun? There you go. So that's something that you want to find out for yourself. What do you like to do for fun? Because I don't say the same thing as these guys when it comes to like have a plan B, have a plan C, all of that, which is great. You should have it. But one thing that I didn't live, I didn't have fun playing football. I didn't have fun doing the things that I did to make money for my family, right? I didn't have that, and I wish I would have been able to have fun because I would have been happier and I would have succeeded further because we work the hardest when you're having fun, but we don't notice. You know what I mean? Like him, he loves football, so when he did it at the highest level that he possibly did because he was having fun. You know what I mean? So that's what I would tell you while you're on this journey. Figure out what you like to have fun doing. It can be painting, it can be walking, it can be doing something. We live in a world with social media that allows you to make money doing whatever you want to do, right? So you have that opportunity now. So figure out what you like to do and have fun, and make sure every day when you wake up and when you go to sleep, you ask yourself, did I have fun today? You know what I mean?
And please, I want to chime in. Make sure you keep people around you that think that way as well, too. Because you're at that age of peer pressure. Social media, your friends, like have people like Dom. He's going to have somebody that likes fishing. Like, I'm about to put him on a deep sea fishing show. Have people around you that encourage that exploration stage of your life right now. You're 18. Oh my God, you're like an empty bucket, and you still don't kind of figure out. So explore, be what's the word I'm looking for? Curious, do it. Like Dom said, do it. You're finding your peace now. You're finding your happiness, and that's critical because not a lot of us find it until we in our 30s. I didn't find it. I thought I liked being in the music industry. I didn't. Like Dom said, it was something. It was cool. Everybody thought it was cool to them, but it wasn't cool to me. I had fun, but I was making money, but it wasn't really who I was. So you doing that now, and I didn't have, when I lost my father, I didn't have nobody to kind of push that. But the beautiful thing, my friends that I went to in college, everybody's different. One's a computer geek. One's an engineer. One's all my friends. These guys got Porsches, Ferraris, all that. None of them are athletes. So make sure you surround yourself with aspiring, thinking individuals that want you to explore and find other aspects of who you are.
Yeah, what I would like to add to both questions. One is, I don't even like to say plan B with our programs with our young ones. We don't say a plan B. What we'll say is, what else are you good at? What else do you like to do? Echoing and who you are. And my man Chike's here, and this is a quote that I learned from him. I always say it is, sometimes what you're good at and what you're passionate about aren't the same thing. So something just to think about, right? Like you might be good at basketball, but you're not passionate about it,
Bars.
right? And or vice versa. But a lot of times, what you're good at helps you do what you're passionate about. And then sometimes they end up becoming one thing. But just something to think about is, what else are you good at? What else are you passionate about? Because you might be the skill is to play basketball. What you're passionate about, you might want to travel. And basketball, the skill of basketball, the money that you can make from it, getting a scholarship allows you to travel. That's what you're really passionate about. And so that's just something. I see people in tech the same way, right? Oh, I'm really good at coding and I can build things. That's not what I'm passionate about, though, right? But the technical skill of what I do I'm good at it, allows me to make money to live what I'm passionate about.
All right, we got a couple of more questions, and we really got to land the plane and wrap it up, y'all. All right, so we got one more question here and another one over here.
All right, I'm going to try to make this quick. And it's not a question, it's a statement. Okay, so what I would like to say is I commend you, black men. Okay, I feel like we don't commend our black men enough. And I commend you guys for taking your mental health seriously. I commend you for being vulnerable. To my son, who I've been in his life for 2 years, since he was 2 years old, I commend you because I've watched you on your mental health journey. I want you to know that we as a family are very proud of you. And believe it or not, even through your trials and tribulations, because we have had the opportunity to watch you grow. Okay, self-care is how you take your power back. I need you guys to continue to take your power back by taking your mental health seriously and continuing to be vulnerable. I love you all.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, that is a great statement because I always say there is a reason why they tell you when you get on an airplane to put the oxygen mask on yourself first and then help others around you because you ain't no good to nobody else if you can't breathe. So this is very, very important. Okay, so we're going to take, these are the last two questions. This gentleman here, this lady in the purple, and then I got to get my man Osei to speak and say hey to everybody, and then we got to wrap this thing up.
Hello, I'm Bob Betts. Thank you for this panel. It's been very valuable. One of the things that I've been challenged with is exposing my vulnerabilities. In exposing my vulnerabilities, I've done that, and sometimes pride gets in the way when it's not well received. Have any of you faced that? You know, sharing your vulnerabilities, and then all of a sudden, it's not really accepted, and then your pride kind of takes it a hit back. And
That's crazy because I was breaking bread with my brother and sister here yesterday, and that question kind of came up in the same way. So I wanna speak to it just real quick. And so when you choose to be vulnerable to whomever it is, your partner, your friend, I've had to start to check myself before I even open that door. And what I mean by that is if I go up to my sister and I say, listen, do you even have the capacity right now to hold for what I'm about to get off my chest? I call that a capacity check. You know what I'm saying? So, because now if I go into it and get that off my chest and I just let off this theme and I'm expecting them to hold the space for me just off the strength of them being in my close circle and expecting them to pick up the phone just because I called them, right? Not knowing where they are at that point in time on their journey and what they're going through. And so I'm like, all right, my emotional intelligence now is like, okay, do you have the capacity to hold for me to get this off my chest? It's a very important question that's helped me prevent myself from getting into those situations where my pride is now hurt because I expected them to be able to drop everything that they're doing or whatever they're going through and hold the space for me to share this off, you know, something that's extremely vulnerable. So I hope that helps. All right.
That is great, but I do the exact opposite. I don't expect anything from that person. So when I be vulnerable, I'm not being vulnerable to get something out of you. I'm being vulnerable to let out what I'm feeling. So whether or not you accept it, and there are many reasons that goes back to giving a person grace because the person that you're trying to be vulnerable to may not understand how to receive that. But the only way that's going to actually happen is if you continue to do that and you give them that grace to learn how to receive it, right? So if you be vulnerable and you don't get what you want, cool. Just understand that you just let off something and you grew. You made that change and you grew from that. And the only thing that's going to happen is that person's going to wind up having to grow, or in your life, somebody's going to show up that can receive that. but that's also teaching you as who you are from a person on how not to allow your pride, on how not to have that expectation of somebody to be able to, because once you put an expectation on something, you're setting up somebody to fail. Right. That's exactly what it is. So you put that expectation on them and they fail. You did that. So you wasn't vulnerable. You just set yourself up to seem like you're vulnerable. Right. So allow yourself to feel good regardless of what that person does. Yeah, regardless of what it is. And I go through that, right? I'm vulnerable and people use that as a tool of use that a tool against me, right? And I'm cool with that. It doesn't hurt my feelings no more. I can't say it did before, but it doesn't hurt my feelings no more because I realize that sometime or someday you will listen. You will wind up listening, and you're gonna hear that, yo, I'm telling you something that's trying to, get some type of communication from you that I'm going through something, or that's gonna make you want to talk to me, and you're gonna open up, and then you can possibly learn how to receive what I'm saying. So I would say, do it and feel good about you getting off what you got off, right? Because that person's gonna change. But don't go in there. I would suggest not to put expectations on somebody else just because they are somebody that's close to you, because you wouldn't want that to happen to you, because that's not the intention, right? The intention is not to make you feel like that. The intention is to listen to you and hear you, but you might not know how to, but you learn how to over time.
Good evening or afternoon. My name is Coach Clay. I want to say thank you to this young lady. Took a lot of things that I wanted to just say thank you, because I think we all needed that. And it takes a village, right? And I'm so thankful for that. Brought my niece and nephew here and my youngest son. I have 3 boys, and I went to a funeral last week of a national gamer that took his own life, and before that, his dad told him he wasn't going to amount to be anything. And, it's been weighing on me because, it was tough. So I want to say, want to ask a question. Let me ask this question. Have you all ever had a situation online where you may have put a picture out that you shouldn't have, or made a statement that you shouldn't have said or something, and I wanted, if you would be vulnerable to share those experiences, that would be great, so that maybe you could teach some of our young people in the audience. Thank you.
So I definitely had a moment like that when I was in Pittsburgh, playing for the Steelers during this time. This might have been.
I'm a Cleveland Browns fan.
I played for Cleveland.
I'm a Cleveland Browns fan.
I played for Cleveland too.
Yeah, and y'all know I am.
Well,
I played for Cleveland too. So.
Oh, you play for Cleveland?
You ain't a real Cleveland Browns fan.
I played for Cleveland.
We have some mental health resources for you. It's okay.
You know real Cleveland Browns fans.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah, but what's crazy it's not crazy, but now reflecting on that moment, it was in a divisional game. We were playing the Ravens, and I missed the block that got Ben Roethlisberger sacked, and that I don't know if it didn't cause us the game, but other things occurred. But after that game, I was just like, man, I had a moment. I checked my phone. I get on Twitter. It's a DM message. You should go jump off a bridge. And, dog, when I tell you, that was one of the worst things I could have saw, just to see that. I didn't know what to do, because, we play this game because we love the game. Some of us, we love the game, and we love the thrill of it. We love what it comes with. But when I saw that message, man, I felt worthless, dog. I felt like everything that I've been working so hard for was diminished by that comment, just that one comment, because I thought that, you know, I feel like people really didn't understand like how hard this game is, like what we go through on a day-to-day basis. We don't go to someone else's job to critique them on what they do on a day-to-day basis. So when I saw that, I took it to heart because I really take ownership and pride into like what we do on the craftsmanship of what we do every single day as an athlete, and that really tore me down. It really made me think, and for that whole week I had a bad week of practice. Like it just carried on, man. Like just seeing that comment just really carried on, and it really had me in a dark place there. Overcoming that, like at that time, I was married, but I talked to her about that, and we just went on through the week of just saying like, hey, like this is not all about what that person said, but I take it to heed what someone else said because we play this game every day, every weekend on TV all the time. So it was like, man, I gotta prove myself. I gotta prove myself. But how did I got better on that situation is just encouraging myself, man. I told my teammates what happened. They were like, man, don't worry about what that person said. They don't know what you're doing, man. They don't do what we do, So it just brought me up. It definitely uplifted me, and just to continue to go on my journey. And it really made me stronger as a person, man. Because words don't mean too much, man, to me no more. You know what I mean? And I look at people with like I took that, and it just like elevated me even more, man. It really did. It really did.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. That is great. That is great. That is great. We are so far over time, but I appreciate everybody. Thank you, Dr. Boyd, for allowing us to run over a little bit.
Well, look, black people ain't never on time.
Well, that is very clear today. But I really want to say thank you to everybody that came out. Oh, okay, I got you. Hold on. So that's what I'm about to do right now, actually. So let me bring up my man, Osei, because Osei is here with representing the media partner that we collaborated with to help co-promote this event. He is here with Atlanta Black Star. If anybody's ever seen Atlanta Black Star, go follow them. Go to AtlantaBlackStar.com. Follow them at Atlanta Black Star on Instagram. They're doing their first annual Atlanta Black Star Week here. So this is my man, Osei. Some of y'all probably know him or remember him from being on the radio on V103. He's Dark Secrets. But Osei, go ahead and tell them a little bit more about Atlanta Black Star Week, and all that good stuff.
Man, first and foremost, man, thank you to you brothers. I appreciate, man, just hearing you speak. My man Anton is an OG in the game, one of my OGs when I was coming up as an intern, and this just means the world, man, to hear you all just really speak life, man. And shout out to you, Dr. Freeman, as well. TheBlackManCan. This is a very powerful statement. I want to just say it is Men's Mental Health Month. It's very important that we really speak about mental fitness. We talk about all the other things, the physical aspects of who we are as men and women, but people forget that there's something inside of you that a lot of people can't see. And, not so long ago, we had an incident take place in downtown Atlanta where 4 people were shot. I believe 2 of them passed, God rest their souls, but it said a lot because as the brother was speaking to the news, he acknowledged what he was going through. He acknowledged being bipolar, not being on his meds, and how he was feeling in that moment. And what he witnessed triggered him into a whole nother incident in which he hijacked a Gwinnett County bus. And they went on a chase that was televised nationally. But he was speaking to what he was experiencing. And I'm saying that we're all really depending on other people's restraint. So when you see somebody out in the world on the day-to-day and you're looking at them, you don't know what that person's going through. Giving somebody grace costs you nothing. Being humble costs you nothing. Sitting up here the way these brothers have spoken, it cost them nothing. They were just being humble and they were giving back and pouring into other individuals. I want to shout out to Marty from the Black Man Lab. You guys made such an impression that, the Black Man Lab needs you. We need you. We need to continue this and make it an ongoing thing. So I just want to acknowledge that. I want to say thank you to Riverside Epicenter, the brand architects, Anton, each and every one of these brothers up here, man, each and every one of you for coming out and supporting this, because this is what it's all about. For us, it's all about health, wealth, and reciprocal generosity, and we can't emphasize that enough, all right? It's what you are pouring back. You get what you give, so make sure that you're pouring into someone else, because you may need that for yourself or for somebody that is close to you or that you love and care about. So with that said, man, we say thank you. BlackStarWeek.com, please support us. We need it, and we want to support you as well. And thank you, my brother Corey, for giving me some time here.
Yep. Thank you, Osei. So everybody, if you would please grab your phones real quick, because I'm sure everybody got Instagram handles and websites and foundations and all this other kind of stuff. And then Eric, I know you have some resources also for people who have additional questions, want more information, and just in general to be able to communicate more. We are going to try to do more of this specifically centered around mental health, but remember, just follow your Instagram, follow riversideepicenter.com, go to @riversideepicenter, check your emails, check your text messages, and all that kind of good stuff as we continue to do more programming like this here for our community. Also, I see my brother Gerald Jordan over here, so we getting ready for if your kids need a summer camp. Make sure you go to our website, follow our social media. We got summer camp coming up real soon, so that's really great. We have a brand new augmented reality that's happening in our bowling center. That's really, really great. Our rock climbing wall is here. We have our arcade here. The Riverside Epicenter is a really, really wonderful place for the total man, for the total person, for your family. So with that being said, I want to give it back to Dr. Frame here. My bad. Yeah, give it back to Dr. Frame so we can wrap up the panel here. And then Soul Cole here, if you can just give us like a couple minutes, he's got some really, really cool demonstration that he wants to do so like to help us all as we, deal with our mental health challenges, okay?
I think everybody in here, this was the first, I heard this about 2 weeks ago. I think everybody in here should stay and listen to what this man has to say when he says it, because this is real powerful.
Yeah, I was going to turn it there. Thank you, everybody. Just give him another round of applause to the panel. This episode, this content will come out on the Black Man Can, and we have everybody's emails. If you register, you'll get all the content. You can follow on the Black Man Can. Everybody can share their socials, but So Cold, do your thing.
Okay. And in your zone. So Cole, y'all.
Y'all don't mind, can I tell you a story?
Absolutely.
All right. This is for my brother, the poet. This is for you. Break the stigma. May these words offer healing vibrations, serving refreshing inspiration with absolute motivation as I channel this co-creation to impact generations amongst many nations. It's okay not to be okay. I know it sounds cliche, we gonna break the stigma anyway. By normalizing the conversation, I'll lead the way with the art of storytelling. I say, my mental health journey started back in the day. A freshman in Piscataway, New Jersey. Big man on campus, the gridiron was my canvas. Red shirt came and I didn't have the answers. Depression started to sink in, self-doubt is all I'm thinking. Before I knew it, the next shit came from blinking. I'm finally playing, but I'm stinking. I'm heated. I couldn't even catch a cold. A sports psychiatrist was recommended, but he was old and white. Not an ounce of athleticism in sight. I knew that wasn't right. I left and didn't think twice. At the time, I thought it was a sign of weakness. Now I'm back in the lab to work on my craft, suppressing the feelings that I had. I ain't got time to be sad. Strap on the shoulder pads, keep it moving. Now I'm grooving. My game steady improving. But wait, there's more. A torn meniscus was knocking at my door, brought me down to the floor. Didn't have the same confidence as before. Adversity in life you can't ignore. My senior year I played it sore. Still battled and went to war. Nobody can question my toughness, that's for sure. Fast forward to the draft, I ain't even get picked last. All I felt was shame, had to charge it to the game. It is what it is. What you gonna do, cry about it? But that's what we did. It's okay to cry. It's a natural release of energy off the line of scrimmage. I'm not concerned about my image. I'm more anxious about being released. If I can keep it a beast, if I can keep it a bean, you know what I mean? My job security ain't clean. I'm getting it out the mud. Sweat, tears, and blood. This practice period is thud. That means keep them up. Stay off the ground. This is my profession now. I'm breaking this stigma all the way down, pound for pound, round for round, even sound for sound, advocating all around. See, 2018, it all came crashing down on me. Off-season surgeries on my neck and on my hip. I'm questioning who wrote this script, on who depression don't exist. I don't want to hear that shit. How I'm gonna bounce back from this, thinking I can't go out like this. What made it even worse, I had to keep it all on the low. The public ain't even know this was a private show, but I ain't had the tools in place to help me navigate it though. Suffering in silence is a heavy burden to carry that weight alone. I promise you, you are not alone. I struggle to receive the love and support from my own home. This level of vulnerability I never known. All this trauma trapped inside my bones. My pride won't let me pick up the phone and ask for help. Why? Because I'm conditioned into saying I'll get it myself. I rehabbed as hard as the little engine that could. Hopeful that I would get another chance to have this last dance, to display my romance for this game I gave my heart. At the start I was 6, just a kid in the mix. Now I'm retired at 26. Check the score on the board game, I'm on to the next play mentality. Later that year, my tipping point crushed my reality. When my grandfather transitioned to immortality, I finally buckled down and agreed to go to therapy. But it wasn't that easy to find someone to relate to me. It was a trial and error, you see. I needed a safe space to be free unapologetically, to express my full range of emotions with transparency. See, that doesn't make me less of a man. Don't you understand? You can't duck from doing that real work forever. Some things you're going to uncover you may not be ready for. However, you can storm any weather and weather every storm that will form. This is a new norm. I'm using my platform to transform with a shockwave. I'm bumblebee brave. Myself I forgave. My mental health I had to save from going off the deep end. Yeah, suicide ideation was creeping. Checked into a rehab facility for 30 days and all I'm thinking is what others are going to say if they found out I went to a shrink, man. If suicide is something you thinking, dial 988 to get you linked in. Know that help is on the way. Live to love another day. Your life is worth living, I say. We set free generational curses through these verses, overcoming the pain, being a student of the game, breaking these chains and the stigma. So misunderstood, but what's a world without enigma? Weezy F, baby, and the F is for your feelings that are validated. My superpowers are animated, emotional intelligence is activated, the taboo is eliminated, evaporated, with all the love I generated, intentionally through representation and relatability. R&R, to shine a light on the darkness as we journey through the highs and the lows, the ebbs and the flows. Let's take a moment to follow the breath in through your nose and observe it as it goes out through your mouth. That's a lot to digest, with the hopes to reduce stress. Sending peace and love always. God bless. Ashe, Butter Babe, Namaste. Have a blessed day and night. Everything is gonna be all right. Home.